The America is Doomed recording was made on the 11th or 12th of May. I just want to make it a disclaimer. Since I've made that recording, a lot of content has come out about the end of America, and originality is important to me. It seems that everyone got the same download at the same time, and I'm just late at reporting mines. But yeah, originality is important to me. This recording was made on the 11th or 12th of May. All right, enjoy. Okay, so I've come to a realization that the United States is actually doomed. And it is doomed from many angles. And its collapse or transition into a totally new paradigm, likely through cataclysm, is inevitable. And there's so many other words with impending and inescapable. Now, let's go from three angles. One will be micro, from that of individual Americans. Then we'll go from macro, that of the government. Then we'll go from spiritual. Yes, I believe those are the three major factors that will contribute to the decline and the fall of America, the United States, as we know it. So let's start off with the people. So the average American, the quality and integrity of the average individual American citizen has fallen, much like it did with the Spartans and the Athenians, or mainly Spartans. The quality of the citizens is declining, and citizenship is being widened to barbarians and foreigners, much like, this happened in Rome and Sparta, where it weakened and widened, and the quality of the individual member of the state, citizen of the state, declined. So we could have freedom of speech and a right to bear arms when we lived in a society of God-fearing Christians that had an education of the classics. When we were all patriots, God-fearing, white, and I'm not a white person, when we were all united and of one mind, then of course we could have guns and freedom of speech, because we were of one mind. Whatever we said or did wouldn't deviate too far from the norm, nor would it endanger the public by having arms. No one was really afraid of people going out and killing each other. We had duels. Over time, the widening of citizenship to, blacks, Asians, first that happened in 1865. That was the first widening of citizenship. Then it happened in the early 1900s with the Ellis Island stuff. That was the second widening of citizenship. And then it happened in the 60s, which was the third widening of citizenship, where, the blacks, really gained, the blacks and the coloreds really gained full citizenship. So every time there's been a widening of citizenship, it seems as if the citizens who were citizens before sort of give up on the country a little bit and go, oh, well, if they're citizens now, then we don't have to care about the country or try as hard. or we can rape the country a little too. I'll have to modify that word. Okay. So that's one aspect. So education, since at every widening of citizenship, the education gets worse, the community and patriotism gets worse, the religious institutions get weaker, people care less because the club gets wider, and America is racist. So people are getting dumber, more selfish, less God-fearing, and we have to ask ourselves, do we want to entrust these people, not the people in 1776, but this generation, with a right to bear arms and free speech? Because these people are going to say stupid things and do dumb things. We're selfish, we're materialistic, we're consumers, we're godless, and that feeds into another one of the points. We are, in general, a worse generation than the previous ones. We're narcissistic. Yes. And no one sees this. Now, there is a speech that you definitely have to go listen to. It's called Jimmy Carter. It's by Jimmy Carter. And it's called A Crisis of Confidence. It might be called A Crisis of Conscience. But let's go with A Crisis of Confidence. Now, Jimmy Carter basically took note, and he stated, and maybe this is why he's remembered in such a negative way, that Americans are becoming big bags of feces. Filth. Selfish, uncaring, uncooperative, narcissistic filth. And we don't see that the next two reasons are our fault. The reason the government is the way the government is because of us. The reason America is godless is because we have lost the fear of God. So the reason America is doomed is primarily, well, I won't say primarily, I'd say it's 50% our fault, individual Americans, that this country is going to fall. We're steady complaining about all these things that are happening in our country right now, but they're all our fault. We voted them in. We allowed them to happen. We saw them happening. At times it benefited us. At times it didn't benefit us. And now it is what it is. So it's our fault. Secondly, the next reason America is doomed to destruction. America was not founded by Christians. It was founded by a group of sorcerers known as the Freemasons. Now, listen, I think the Freemasons are really cool. My only problem with them is that they worship Satan. Like, I'm into all of the Egyptian stuff, the pageantry, the search for knowledge, the experimentation. So this government, since its inception, if you have ever gone to Washington, D.C. and observed the architecture and planning of the city, completely pagan, satanic. Yes, completely pagan, satanic deal you got going on there, right? Not a Christian looking capital. Not at all. So since its inception, the government has been full of sorcerers, wizards, worshippers of the Dark One, all that. The Accursed One. And it's continuously, and I'm not saying that within that faction there hasn't been different waves. Like, hey, we should make a utopia for the peasants. Hey, we should enslave all the peasants. What could have happened is The founding fathers could have been a breakaway from the European organization, and they wanted to create utopia, but with the reintroduction of the Fed, the federal bank and whatever, America was seized once again, which is likely the case. But America, it's run by evil people that use the population of America, as tax crops to harvest money to go raise troops and units and fight overseas with. If you understand, like, we're just meant to work, create tax revenue, which is then used to go to war and trade weapons and drugs and all these things. So, and our government facilitates all this stuff, all this anti-God stuff, and brainwashes the public into more of an empty and, spiritless, godless existence constantly. We have so much entertainment between video games, movies, free movies, streaming services, music, sports. There's so much. Listen, I could take a vacation right now, and for 30 days nonstop, I could be entertained by various forms of media nonstop. I even forgot social media. Nonstop. YouTube, nonstop. America has the most entertainment any civilization has ever had in the history of man this side of the Great Flood. That's what I can say for sure. So the government continuously brainwashes, and Hollywood is totally run by them alphabet boys. But the government continuously brainwashes the American populace out of any action, meaningful action, self-contemplation. I haven't made a video in months because I've been working so damn much. I'm in a cycle right now I gotta get out of, like I've been working like a slave. So really, we gotta watch it as Americans, how much we're working, because we are being worked like slaves right now. The government is coming out in the open, sort of saying, hey, we're gonna invite all these migrants in, and then all these illegal aliens in, all these criminals in, and then we're gonna weaken. My bad, this is the fourth. So 1865, 1900 with the European migration, 1960, 2024, the great invasion of this is the fourth widening of citizenship. Just like how Bitcoin had its fourth quadrupling or whatever, where it cut the amount of coins it was releasing, something like that. I'm not a finance guy at all,